Salong Saga is an explorer from India whose channel focuses on traveling to places few people ever get the chance to see. From remote villages to forgotten mountain trails, he enjoys uncovering the history behind each location he visits. During one expedition through the forests of Nagaland, what began as another adventure quickly turned into something none of them expected.
सेफ्टी के लिए बस गन भी पकड़ा हुआ है। नहीं होगा भाई, चल के आ रहा है, थोड़ा थकान महसूस हो रहा है, इसलिए थोड़ा रेस्ट कर रहा है हम लोग भी। और नदी का सहारा लेना पड़ रहा है क्योंकि जंगल पूरा घना हो गया, तो पूरा नदी उठ के जाना पड़ेगा हम लोग। अभी भी कम से कम आधा घंटा 1 घंटा जैसा तो लगेगा, तो देखते हैं और कितना आगे बढ़ना पड़ेगा। तो पूरा जंगल काट के जा रहा है, देखिए नदी का सहारा लेना पड़ रहा है।
The group spent hours cutting their way through dense jungle with machetes, clearing thick vegetation just to continue moving forward. Because the area was known for dangerous wildlife, they also carried firearms in case they encountered any animals along the way. Eventually, they reached a river where the hike became much easier. While taking a break to eat, something high on a nearby mountainside caught their attention.
Oh, यहाँ पर हनीबी का घोंसला है। हनीबी का घोंसला शायद ऊपर में भी है, लेकिन यहाँ से दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है।
Huge beehives covered part of the cliff. Curious to get a closer look, they launched a drone toward the rock face. While filming the hives, they noticed something even stranger, a narrow trail winding its way up the mountain. Unlike the surrounding forest, this path looked like it had been used many times before. Unable to ignore their curiosity, they decided to follow it.
Oh, ये कौन सा केव है? पता कर लेते हैं। चला, रास्ता भी ठीक ठाक ही है, इतना खराब तो नहीं है। मतलब आदमी लोग आने जाना करते रहता है यहाँ पर। नीचे में तो इतना अंधेरा था यहाँ पर। ओह, ये है तो ओह ओ भाई, पत्थर है। अंदर का नज़ारा देखा देता हूँ यहाँ पर। बहुत साफ है, ऐसा है। देखिए यहाँ पर थोड़ा अंदर सा है, ये मेन शेड होता है, यहाँ से अंदर घुसे। दिखाता हूँ हमारा लाइट वगैरह ठीक ठाक करके। पहला ये ऊपर का नज़ारा दिखा देता। बहुत आदमी लोग अपना मेमोरी पूरा लिख के रखा हुआ है। बहुत आदमी विजिट किया हुआ है।
The trail eventually led them to an old cave covered with faded names and writing. Unsure of what they had discovered, they cautiously stepped inside and continued deeper into the darkness. Then they saw it. Human bones were scattered throughout the cave.
हड्डी दिखी ला है। क्या चीज का हड्डी है भाई? स्टेक लगा तो गुड प्राइस। अच्छा, tum식한다 이거구나। 이거 한데 ये देखो खोपड़ी, ये तो बहुत ही बड़ा है भाई। दो तो ये पूरा भरा हुआ है।
यहाँ पे यहाँ पर शायद ये पत्थर ऊपर से गिर के टूटा होगा तो अब इतना बड़ा है माइकी लास ना के अन्ना ये किबाब ताना लास है
ये तो नाका बिल खा रहा है
तो बनिए माइकी लास ना
मता है
मता ला ना
At first, it looked like they had stumbled across the scene of a terrible crime, hidden deep in the wilderness. But after leaving the cave, they met people from a nearby village who explained its true purpose. According to the villagers, the remains belonged to their ancestors from centuries ago. Long ago, the community practiced a burial tradition where the deceased were left inside their homes until only the bones remained. Those bones were then carefully placed into clay pots and carried into mountain caves using ropes and wooden ladders. What first appeared horrifying was actually a centuries-old burial tradition. Even knowing the history, unexpectedly walking into a cave filled with human remains is the kind of discovery few people would ever forget. A runner known online as Beckler89 was enjoying a routine jog through Fish Creek with his dog, Cooper, when a peaceful afternoon suddenly became anything but. During the run, Cooper stopped beside the trail to investigate a scent. While waiting, the owner glanced down at his phone for only a few moments. When he looked back up, he immediately noticed movement in the bushes. Less than 10 steps away stood a coyote. Seeing a wild coyote isn't unusual in itself, but what made this encounter different was the animal's behavior. Instead of keeping its distance, it seemed completely focused on Cooper.
Get out of here! Hey! Hey! No! Get out of here! Hey! Get out of here! Get going! Get going! Hey! Go! Come on! Get out of here! Hey! Get out of here! Ha! Let's go! Come on! Let's go! Ha!
The runner immediately began yelling and waving his arms, expecting the coyote to retreat. It didn't. Even after being shouted at several times, the animal barely backed away before slowly returning again. Realizing the situation might become dangerous, he activated the recording feature on his smart glasses so everything would be documented if the encounter escalated. The coyote continued watching them, showing almost no fear despite the constant yelling. Later, the uploader admitted he couldn't tell whether the animal was preparing to attack or simply defending its territory. Some viewers believed it may have had pups hidden nearby, making its unusually bold behavior easier to understand. Others weren't convinced. To them, the coyote appeared far more interested in Cooper than protecting the area around it. Fortunately, the encounter ended without anyone being injured. Still, it's unsettling to imagine facing a wild predator that simply refuses to leave, especially when you're completely alone on the trail. Sergei Sukolovsky has spent years camping in remote wilderness areas, documenting survival trips and overnight adventures in some of the coldest forests he can find. After so much time outdoors, he's become familiar with the countless sounds that echo through the woods after dark. But one winter camping trip left even him questioning what he had heard.
Сегодня выбрался в одиночный поход с ночевкой. Выбрался, конечно, поздновато, но ничего страшного. Уже прошел некоторое количество километров и думаю, пора искать место под ночевку. Ночью передают температуру -7, поэтому ночевка будет экстремальная. Одно дело у костра ночевать, а другое дело в палатке холодной. Поэтому не знаю, как пройдет ночевка, экстремально, не экстремально, но спальник у меня вроде бы теплый, хотя в такую погоду -7 я еще и в нем не ночевал. В общем, тоже протестим спальник. Короче, буду сейчас искать местечко под ночевку. В принципе, вот этот лес, он тоже нормально. Тут есть и сухие дрова, и место довольно просторное. Но я хочу еще немного пройтись дальше вглубь, посмотреть, что там за лес. И, может, где-нибудь там, если будет хорошее местечко, расположить лагерь. Либо же обратно сюда вернуться. Ну, в общем, посмотрим. В общем-то, принял решение расположиться тут. Дальше никуда не идти, потому что тут такая более уютная полянка, более такой лес плотный, молодняк. Нормально, если кто-то будет ночью ко мне пробираться, то я в любом случае услышу. В общем-то, нормально. Есть место, где поставить также палатку. Снега тут не особо много. В общем-то, нормально. Да и дров тут тоже вроде как есть. Если что, туда сходим. Там по дороге видел много сушин.
After hiking into a secluded clearing, Sergei set up his tent before gathering enough firewood to make it through the freezing night. As darkness settled over the forest, he prepared dinner and relaxed beside the fire, expecting another quiet evening in the wilderness. Instead, the silence was suddenly interrupted by a series of chilling cries somewhere beyond the trees. The sounds echoed through the forest with a pitch that immediately caught his attention.
Кто-то кричит. Кто это? Кто это? Офигеть. Я не знаю, на телефон было слышно или нет. Это, наверное, лиса. Я впервые такой звук слышу. Я не знаю, было ли слышно на телефон. Я не успел камеру достать. Хорошо, хоть на телефоне что-то записал. Когда вот слышишь подобные крики, звуки, то всегда в лесу становится не по себе прям. Я впервые слышал крик лисы. Ну, я подозреваю, что это крик лисы, потому что когда-то я узнавал, как кричит лиса, и она плюс-минус вот так же и кричит. Это прям не лай косули, а именно такой крик, ё-моё, как будто женский. Прям офигеть. Он сначала ко мне этот крик приближался, а потом начал отдаляться. Все произошло настолько быстро, что я даже не успел это нормально заснять. Я сразу на телефон снимал, потом хотел на фотоаппарат снять, потому что микрофон тут получше. И как-то так получилось, что не особо и получилось. Но я офигел, реально прям офигел.
His first thought was that it might be a fox, an animal known for producing surprisingly human-like screams. But the longer he listened, the less convinced he became. The cries sounded disturbingly similar to a woman calling for help somewhere deep within the darkness.
Костер горит. На часах у нас уже где-то уже 3 часа. Я немного поспал, но сейчас я проснулся от того, что холодно. То есть холодно не в самом спальнике, а холодно от земли. Я подстелил куртку, было нормально, но все равно холод от земли отдает. Прям чувствуется, как в спине холодно. Не знаю, что буду делать.
Rather than investigate, Sergei stayed close to his campsite, adding more wood to the fire before eventually retreating into his tent. Although nothing else happened during the night, sleep didn't come easily. Even after sunrise, he couldn't stop thinking about the strange noises that echoed through the forest. Many viewers agreed the sounds probably came from a fox. Others argued they were far too human to ignore. There's no evidence anyone else was actually out there. But if someone with years of wilderness experience can still be left unsettled by what they hear after dark, it's easy to understand why this clip continues to spark debate. After spending several days alone in the wilderness, survivalist Xander found himself running dangerously low on food. Nearly every attempt to catch fish had failed, leaving him exhausted and running on very little energy. As the hours passed, hunger began affecting his judgment, making every opportunity for a meal feel impossible to ignore.
I'm in the coastal rainforest of the Pacific Northwest. Over the next 5 days, I hope to fish and forage my way to sustenance as I beat off the nasty rains that inhabit this region. I'm out here for a handful of nights, surviving up the land with the limited tools I have here in my bag. What I don't have is any kind of fire starter, any kind of shelter, any kind of water, or any kind of food. 4 things you need in order to survive. Though this is a brand new environment for me, and with that comes brand new challenges. And as I've learned, there's more to this place than meets the eye. tell you guys all about that a little later, but for now, let's find a nice place to call home. Because got a lot of work to do. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh. Oh, no. 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 Oh, I had one. I've been getting a few bites, but honestly, I think the bait's just terrible. I don't really have many options right now. The shellfish are the only thing that's around. Maybe they like slug as much as I do, I don't know.
While searching the shoreline for another place to fish, he noticed a black bear feeding nearby. Instead of leaving the area immediately, Xander quietly considered slipping farther down the bank to avoid disturbing the animal. He knew it was a risk, but after days without a proper meal, the temptation to keep fishing was difficult to resist.
Black bear's right there, but it looks like it's getting some food, so I'm gonna try to kind of sneak below him and see if I can fish. But that might be a bad call. I don't think it's very territorial, so could be all right. Whoa! All right, the bear's looking over here. Okay. 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 I had a fish, but the bear's giving me a stern look like this is his territory, not mine. So I'm gonna spend the day hungry and not mauled by a bear.
At first, everything seemed fine. Then the bear noticed him. Almost instantly, the atmosphere changed. The animal stopped what it was doing and turned its full attention toward Xander. Even after hooking a fish, he hesitated to reel it in, as the bear continued watching from only a short distance away. Rather than risk provoking the animal, he slowly backed away, abandoning both the fish and the chance for dinner. Later, Xander admitted it was one of the hardest decisions he'd made during the trip. After days with almost no food, walking away wasn't easy, but challenging a black bear over a single fish would have been far worse. Fortunately, the encounter ended peacefully. The following morning, a boat arrived to take him home, bringing his survival trip to an end. Sometimes surviving the wilderness isn't about finding food. It's knowing exactly when to give it up. Hiru Rodriguez and his family were documenting flood conditions outside their home near a river in Brazil, when an ordinary recording suddenly became much more unsettling. As they walked through the shallow floodwater, laughing and talking to the camera, movement beneath the surface caught everyone's attention. An alligator slowly emerged from the water. At first, it appeared to be swimming past the family without much interest, but after a few moments, it unexpectedly changed direction and began moving toward them.
Dá um alô aí, galera. Chegou.
Olha chamando o tamanho. Ronaldinho? Ah, ele aí. Pode ficar de boa.
De boa? De boa com a Dona Maria, não com a gente.
Vem aqui. Vem, Ronaldinho. Aqui. Vem aqui. Vem lá.
Segura aqui.
Ué, ele tá com o toco? Tá, os dois lados. Os dois lados.
Ele ataca a senhora? Isso daí não.
The group immediately focused on the approaching reptile, carefully watching its every movement while keeping their distance. What none of them noticed was that another alligator had quietly entered the scene from the side.
Simples assim.
Aí outro ali,
Pra
ó.
cá, hein? Opa!
Eu tô pegando você! Venha, gente! Aí, tá de boa, vai, irmão! Venha! Sai daí, irmão!
Vai, Dona Maria, mas se a senhora tá correndo dos filhos da senhora, imagina nós.
Venha!
Se nós não voamos,
Peraí, ó. Ele vai dentro da cozinha. Parou!
ele vai até na cozinha.
Ah, eu que tava aqui, ó.
Ele vai até na cozinha, né, Maria?
É isso aí, galera, ó. Teve que correr, todo mundo. Olha só. Ô, Sérgio, se não der pra vir pra cá, faz o quê? Dá um like, curte o vídeo aí.
Curte o vídeo.
É isso aí, é só curtir o vídeo.
Unlike the first one, this second animal was approaching from an angle where almost no one was looking. Fortunately, after getting closer, it appeared to reconsider and stopped advancing before eventually remaining where it was. The family escaped unharmed, but the encounter served as a powerful reminder of how quickly situations can change in environments like the Amazon. It's easy to keep your eyes fixed on the danger directly in front of you. The real problem is the one you never notice until it's already close.